Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Klim and today I'm having a look at the new PlayStation VR2 PC adapter. In my original PlayStation VR2 review, I did talk about that someone eventually will make a mod or something to make PlayStation VR2 to work with a PC, and one guy actually did this, but it only worked with graphics card that had Type-C output. But eventually Sony officially made an adapter to make this thing work with a PC, what actually surprises me. What return from Sony. Alright, let's go and check this thing out.
Это ты с кем там целуешься? Я, конечно, все понимаю, но ты батю тоже впусти, но старый пожилой человек, нужно уважать. А? Да я озвучиваю другу звуки поцелуев для игры. Ну ладно, ну тогда записывай так, чтобы, девочки все текли, как минимум, да.
Ты такой горячий.
PlayStation VR2 was released in February 2023, and I was the guy who pre-ordered this thing and used it since then. During this time I played about 2 or 3 dozens of games in PlayStation VR2 and I was really happy with this, cause VR gaming is something you need to have time and energy on, and I had troubles with this year because of a lot of job and other things going on in my life, so it's not a thing you're gonna be playing like 6 or 8 hours a day, only if you're not playing VR chat only. And overall, in the end of the day, in my personal opinion, technically this VR headset is still really good, especially because of its OLED display and direct DisplayPort connection with no latency and 10-bit color. Alright, let's start with having a look at the adapter itself. Well, nothing special really, just a black plastic box, which has DisplayPort input, it also has a power input, Type-A cable for connecting to your PC's USB, and also a Type-C input for connecting your PlayStation VR2 helmet. Obviously all of this in the box is not enough for you to get started. You also need to get a DisplayPort cable for connecting into your graphics card. You will need a version 1.4 higher, in my personal advice. Also, you need to make sure you have a Bluetooth in your PC or a laptop. In my example, it's Bluetooth 5.3 and it works perfectly on my Z790 ProArt Asus motherboard. You also need to make sure you just connect those antennas to your motherboard, otherwise Bluetooth won't work properly. If you don't have Bluetooth in your desktop PC, I recommend you getting PCI Bluetooth card with a Wi-Fi adapter. It works the best. But in other cases you can get the USB Bluetooth, but that might not work as good as it needs to be. The first thing you need to understand that this is not just a regular Type-C to DisplayPort adapter, no, this is more like even capture card or even virtual link adapter. And if you know what are virtual link adapters, you know that they can cost on eBay used from $300 or more. So for $60, this is pretty much a bargain. Eventually what this thing does, it takes the DisplayPort signal, it converts it to Type-C, and over that Type-C cable it sends the power to the headset, it sends image and it sends audio. The interesting thing that VR headset is being shown as a separate display in NVIDIA control panel and also the audio, so that's the one that you pick to use with your VR headset. The setup process for me was extremely smooth and simple. All I did, I downloaded PlayStation VR2 official app, I've downloaded Steam VR, on Steam obviously, and I just did all the guide through and all the things that the app told me, and it just simply worked. Alright, what am my experience? Well, the experience is actually really good out of the box. Well, the setting up process was painless at all, it was the same as on PlayStation 5 for me. Some people did have problems because they had some problems with their Bluetooth adapter in the PC, but they should get a pretty good one then. The surprising thing for me that in all of the games the buttons on the gamepads are correctly mapped and you won't have any problems, it works just natively everywhere, just like it should do, like it's a PC VR headset. The tracking of the headset and the gamepads is actually quite good. I would say it's a tiny bit more accurate on PlayStation 5, but I think they can fix it during the time. The other thing you need to know that the eye tracking and also your gamepad triggers are not working on a PC, but I think modding community will fix this during the time, or maybe Sony itself. Finger tracking also works on controllers, but it's not going to track every single finger separately that you need to know, but on VR chat it works, and I think it's more than enough. Alright, what can we do now when we can connect this thing to a PC? Well, for example, we have Steam VR. Basically, it's an user interface for your helmet, and there you can do a lot of things. By pressing PlayStation button on your controller, you will get into menu where, for example, you can do a lot of things on your PC. You can change virtual screen sizes also and place them in the space as you want. There is also a separate button for setting up your PlayStation VR2. It has the same user interface and sounds as in PlayStation 5, and there you can set up a lot of things such as screen brightness, much vibration, how powerful you want it to be, and also to set up your play area. During all this time when I was using PlayStation VR2, I was constantly being told there are no games on PlayStation VR2. But eventually, what do we have now? We have Steam, right? We can check out how many amazing games are there. Yeah, right. The same games I played on my PlayStation 5, same multi-platform games. Cool. Oh yeah, and Half-Life Alyx and VR Chat, that's it. I obviously tried out Half-Life Alyx, but it didn't blow me away. I mean, I played games on PSVR 1, PSVR 2, and I did play some games that actually are still quite good as well, and I did eventually spend like a week scrolling the list of the same games, porn games and all other indie shit. But wait a minute, if you do know any cool games in Steam I can get for VR, drop those in the comment section below. That will really help. Well, luckily for someone, there's a lot of other software on Steam for people to use with VR, such as drawing programs, Architect and all other stuff that you might need, which you couldn't do on PlayStation 5. Another cool thing is that you can watch movies in VR, you can download different apps to change your cinema place a little bit around you while you're watching a movie. So it's all pretty cool, and with an OLED display it's pretty much amazing. Привет, чумбы! Ха-ха, смотрите, я в VR-чате, вот такой у меня аватар. Смотрите, какая девочка-сосочка. Дэм! Можно даже бубис строгать. Буп-буп. В общем, да, вот такая тема. Вот так работает трекинг, в принципе, довольно-таки хорошо. Сойдет. Думаю, с апдейтами еще получше сделают, потому что на плойчике он работает чуточку лучше, вот. Но тречатся пальцы, тречится вот это все, что надо, поэтому прикольно. Okay, let me tell you about my audio peripherals I'm using for this VR headset. First of all, I'm using this earphones made for Sony. Those are XBA N3. Those costed like 300 on the start or 350 bucks. I got them used for about 80-100 bucks or something. Sounds amazing. I mean, like XM5s sounds pretty much the same, maybe worse at some point, so pretty good. And you just plug them into 3.5mm jack here and it sounds amazing. At 20% volume, this thing completely destroys those. They just like going to explode of the loudness they go through. Maybe it's an amplifier, something with an adapter, because I seen a Realtek chip there. I don't know, sounds good. And also I'm using, in terms of microphone, I'm using this Holyland Lark Max wireless microphones. It's pretty much easy, you just magnet one onto here and it's going to work pretty perfectly. You just plug the receiver with Type-C into your PC and it works straight away just like any other microphone on your Windows system. But these ones are pretty expensive. Try checking out maybe Holyland Lark M2 or something else. Alright, what is my verdict, you might ask? Well, if you have PlayStation 5 or you have PlayStation VR 2 already, this thing is must-have. Just get it, play more games, play a lot of more content, enjoy the VR headset on both platforms at the same time, what other guys can't do. I personally don't spend hours in the VR because I have a lot of job and other things, and all the games that I had and bought on PlayStation 5 or PlayStation VR 2 were more than enough for me not to complete them during this year, because I didn't have that much time and energy to actually go and play too much of VR games. In my personal example, it's really comfortable for me that I can have only one headset for both of the platforms, and I don't need to buy two headsets for like 600 bucks, come on. These days you can get a used PlayStation VR2, I think for 350 bucks or something, and get an adapter and it will be a great setup, especially if you have PlayStation 5. So all that said, this adapter is actually great. Yes, it does cost 60 bucks, but it will cost way more for you to get both headsets at the same time. Well, that's it guys, thank you for watching, press like, subscribe, and I'll see you in next videos, and the next one is going to be about my Xperia 1 Mark 6. See you soon.